Hey guys, I'm hanging out in downtown San Francisco. I've been here a couple times visiting the Faraday headquarters over the years, and they've got a new one here. This is the Faraday Porteur S Civic Edition in Midnight Run Blue. Looking really beautiful. These bikes, they come in 3 different sizes, so you can really dial in fit. There's a lot that you can do to customize them, and that's the story behind this bike. So we've got these like Bull Run NITTO steel handlebars, steel fork, steel frame. So you've got a really good strength to weight ratio, some vibration dampening quality. There's a lot you can do with these. I noticed that in recent years they've added a cafe lock, kind of a frame lock right here, interface. So you could add that yourself if you want to kind of go Euro style. You see that on some of the other bikes from the Pong Group, and these guys are now a part of the Pong Group. So we're talking about Focus, Kalkoff, Gazelle. It's really interesting. It sounds like their supply chain's being improved, and I'm excited to see where this goes in the future, but it's neat to see little incremental updates like this bike. Got some rear rack bosses back here, some upgraded tires. These are Rat Trap Pass, 26 by 2.3, a little bit wider, really nice smooth tread, just kind of a cool look too. They tie into these gold Paul Components mechanical disc brakes back here. These are 160 millimeter rotors, front and rear. And I've noticed that the levers are just really easy to actuate. They feel really smooth and strong. Sometimes mechanical brakes, you know, you're pulling this cable that goes all the way to the back. So a lot of times, like, the right lever is a little bit harder to pull, but that just isn't the case here. They feel very, very nice. Still got the Revo Shift, very intuitive. You can look at this and see, you know, what gear you're in. Keeps the cockpit very, very clean, very beautiful. And then the interface, this is all it is. It uses E-Ink. It's completely full right now, so it looks black. It's solid, but otherwise you'd see some lighter color as the battery drains down. Whether the bike's on or off, it doesn't take any extra energy. It's just persistent display. It's something very unique to the Faraday bikes. So we've kind of got like low assist and high assist. There's just 2 levels. Just click it down like that. Very easy to understand and use. Same thing with the interface at the back. Got 6 little LED lights there, keeping you visible. The power button with a blue ring. You just press that in, the bike turns on, and even the charging interface down here. I really like that. It seems like they used maybe like a musical instrument type of plug, like a microphone type of thing, but it's metal, so it's really durable. And the charger itself, very lightweight, very compact. 2 amp charger, but that's fine. I think this is a 43 volt 6.8 amp hour battery, and it's right there in the down tube. It's completely hidden. That's one of the first things you notice about any of the Faraday bikes. And we do have some of the other models over here. So we have this nice gray. We don't have a white one with us right now. I actually rode out here with some of the guys from the company, but this does come in white if you want to get this special edition. Again, it's like the Civic Limited. And I guess Civic's like a kind of a clothing company. They've got a certain style going on. Maybe you can tell me the story, Adam. You know, this is the founder of the company, Adam Vollmer. How's it going?
It's going good.
It's great to see you. And, you know, you just got off a plane from Asia. You're flying all over the place, dialing these things in. It's a privilege to be here with you and get to, you know, hear the story. Can you tell me about the Civic Edition? Because I don't know much about it. You know?
Yeah, well, it's kind of a fun project. So you know our Porteur S, right?
Absolutely.
Although I think it's been a while. I think the last time you saw it, it was kind of the first generation of it ever.
Yeah.
And we've made it better since then. We increased the size of the battery, got a better part spec on it, dropped the price, and it really is this kind of cool sweet spot bike. It and the Cortland S for us now. Yeah. Like, same electronics as our top end bike. We guys asked that a lot. Yeah. And you get the same motor, battery, electronics, a really smooth ride. At a really great price point. It's just really, really compelling.
Is that the S? Like, it's a little bit more affordable because you're not using the belt drive and the internally geared hub. Yep. You know, we have like, in fact, let's go over here. So there's this 8-speed. We've got the derailleur, Shimano Altus, 11 to 32 teeth. Yep. Relatively lightweight, smooth, quick shifting, but that drops the price a little bit over, you know, the internally geared hub, Gates carbon drive, CDX belt drive.
Yeah, on our top of the line bikes, I mean, this really is, I kind of go to like, it's like the Cadillac, right? Like, this bike really, really is for somebody who wants kind of the ultimate in quality, crispness, that Shimano Wolfian hub. It is, you know, mine is 4 years old now. I've had my bike forever, and it shifts just like a dream. Like, it's really, really nice. So for somebody who wants kind of the best of the best, and the best thing about it is just like low, virtually no maintenance. Yeah. That kind of nails that.
And shifting at standstill, right? That's kind of a cool thing.
For a city bike, that is a really, really great thing. Yeah. So that, like, we love that package on this bike. But the S models over here, this is the stock kind of S build. it's a perfectly fantastic bike. It's got Pro-Max disc brakes, you've got great stopping power, Shimano levers.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, that really crisp, clean 8-speed derailleur with a really wide gear drain. This is a great bike for kind of everyday city riding. You really can't go wrong. And again, the price point is like, it's crazy good.
All your bikes are lightweight. So, you know, again, we're really focused on the Civic Limited over there, and it's 40.8 pounds. I'm on the medium-sized frame right now.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and some of that comes back to the battery. Can you tell me the battery capacity again? Because it feels like
battery's 306 watt hour.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's great. This is kind of a power sipping motor. Seems like the same motor on all the bikes. It's a 250 watt up to like 350 watt peak.
Yeah.
And this is like a custom tuned Bafang that's like 43 volts.
43 volts. Let's geek out on it a little bit because it's kind of
okay.
fun, right?
Yeah. I'm ready for this.
So our battery is a 306 watt hour battery.
Yeah. Right in here.
People make this mistake all the time. So I'm going to correct it here for the record on video. So this is not the battery.
Okay, yeah.
People are always like, oh man, your battery is so small. This must have like a 2-mile range. This is not the battery. This is the brains of the bikes. This is the controller. A lot of really cool custom electronics in there that really kind of go into making that super smooth ride that people love about our bikes. So controller there. Battery is basically right kind of end to end here in the down tube.
Yeah.
So all of our bikes have the battery here. And that 306 watt hour, we're really proud of this. We kind of geek out. The highest energy density of any battery
AG
in the e-bike
cells,
market.
right, from Panasonic.
Yep.
Yeah, which is one of the leaders in terms of quality as well.
Yeah, it's the top of the line, basically kind of high capacity, high sort of like cycle count, and high power output. So it kind of gets everything you want for an e-bike. You know, great capacity, can really crank out a ton of power when you need it. And so one of the things that we love about this battery is like with that 43 volt setup, which is pretty unique to us, you get this nice combination of frankly, a little bit more kind of torque and power than you would expect in a bike kind of this size. So people are surprised all the time when they ride our bikes and they come back and they're like, wow, that was really fun and punchy.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes from the system and how we designed it. So the front hub motor there, again, back to that. So it's a Bafang motor. Bafang, if you don't know, probably the biggest hub motor manufacturer in China.
Yeah.
Great legacy in making the best hub drives on the market. We love hub drives for city bikes. We love all e-bikes, frankly.
Sure, right.
We're e-bike geeks, but
I've seen a few in the office. There's all kinds of things floating around.
There's tons of stuff floating around.
Yeah.
But this motor for this bike, what is really, really great about this is the power density you get out of this motor. This motor is, 2.5 kilograms, if that. It's super, super light. It's
but even the battery was like
More than
relatively
myself.
like all low, really low on the frame, like, you know, and it's efficient, right? This type of motor.
Super efficient, and it's got, actually, we have an 11-to-1 gear reduction there. So what you get out of that is like, and with the front hub motor, people ask a lot, why the front hub motor? And there's a couple reasons. One is that we use the internal geared hub on the back for our belt drive bikes, so that you can't put a rear hub motor on that. But we've tested a ton of rear motors. They're perfectly fine, but we actually, the power you can get out of this, the power and the torque, because it's so small, and you don't have a cassette or a bottom bracket or anything else in there, it's just all magnets and copper and gears. This thing just totally cranks. And so it really gives these bikes this fun, just kind of like get up and go. Like if I go to my car analogy, right? This is not like it's not a Ferrari. It's not just a like 0 to 60 as fast as we can.
Yeah.
This is just like the most fun 2-seater coupe, like, Miata, a little BMW, just like punchy, fast off the line, put smiles all over your face. Like that is what our bikes are.
And comfortable. So it's got that vintage look, but also these bars that kind of rise and sweep back, and just the geometry of this bike's always been really, really comfortable to me, surprisingly.
Yeah, no, we really put a lot of value into that. We know that when people think about e-bikes, they think a lot about, how far can it go, how fast can it go, which are all super important. How reliable is it, how well made is it?
For sure. Hey, 2-year warranty, lifetime on the frame. By the way, that's your warranty here.
Yep. We're based in the U.S., so we have our support team right here in San Francisco, and if you have a problem, we will literally bend over backwards to make it right.
That's fantastic. We met like a long time ago when you were working at IDEO, innovating and improving on products, and then you were launching this. You launched it on Kickstarter. It was very successful. So to see you now, partnered with one of the biggest global like electric bike company, I don't know if you conglomerate. How's that been? Are you okay like making that transition?
No, it's been great. It's been awesome. Yeah, I think Pawn is like the partner that we always kind of wanted Faraday to find, as far as our vision certainly is to be kind of at the forefront of the US e-bike market. We want to be the brand that is synonymous with e-bikes for city family cargo electric riding in the US, right? So it's funny, you mentioned Pawn, right? So Pawn owns a lot of brands. One of them is Santa Cruz.
Yeah, right down the road.
Right down the road. So not an e-bike brand, but I'm a mountain biker, right?
Cool.
And when I think of Santa Cruz, I think of just like hands down the best mountain bike brand. Like whether you're cross country or downhill, like whatever it is, those guys just like the quality of design, the quality of retailers, like everything about the product is just like impeccable. And they stand for only one thing, which is making great mountain bikes, right? They don't do kids bikes or road bikes or whatever. They're just like mountain bikers through and through. Yeah. And for me, like that is Faraday. That is the brand we're building. And so I think to be part of that group and you know get to learn from brands like that, also get to partner up with folks like Gazelle and Kalkoff and Focus is just, we couldn't be happier. It's really great.
Can I call out a couple other things I noticed?
Yeah.
Okay, so this being a 26-inch wheel, so 26, these are 1.75. Remember I was talking about how the limited edition, that one has like fatter tires, so there might be a little bit of a comfort upgrade there. That one does not have the reflective sidewall stripes, but it does come with the light, and the integrated light is really cool. You can see that on all of these. They've got it's kind of metal, it's built in. On the limited, it's going to be down here, right? So it'll one of the trade-offs there, and it's also the case if you use the front rack. When you steer, right now this light is actually pointing where you steer. When you mount it to that tab, it's going to be kind of straight all the time.
And one of the nice things about this light, the light is super bright. So if you've ever ridden our bikes at night, like this thing will completely illuminate the road. So you think about lights, there are lights that allow you to be seen by cars and the lights that allow you to actually see the road. And this, you can ride this down a pitch black street at night and see all the potholes. So it's really great for safety in that regard. And because it casts a pretty wide beam when you're riding, it actually, I have mine mounted on my front rack. So when we have that really cool front rack we make.
Yeah, those are awesome. The Porteur rack, right?
The Porteur rack, right? The namesake of the kind of the hallmark model. So that rack mounts on the frame, so it also doesn't turn with the wheel, which is really nice. And then the light can go underneath that. So
so it's adaptable, and the rack is compatible. Let's go back over to the Civic Limited. Okay, so it has the rear rack option, it has the front rack option. If you don't get the front rack, it's just the light's going to be mounted down there because of these custom like bullmoose handlebars.
Yep. Right? So this is a fun bike, so I want to talk about this a little bit. So you mentioned earlier the Pawn kind of association, and I think it relates a little bit to some of the motivation for this bike. So Pawn, very much a company that believes in the e-bike market, right? Yeah. So they're going all in on bikes. It's a transportation brand, and they think they've done cars for 100 years, and now they're looking at the world and they're saying, bikes are going to be the future of transportation. We're going to be a leader in that. And I respect the heck out of those guys for having that vision. And so they're looking at the U.S. market. They're a Dutch company. They have a big presence in Europe, and they're looking at the U.S. market, and they're like, this is gonna take off. Yeah. And so Faraday, I think, very much is a part of them having a strategy for saying, let's have a great American brand kind of on the ground at the forefront of making e-bikes huge in the US market. We're excited to be that. And so kind of, we wanted to celebrate that sort of American aspect. I think we're a little unique in that we are a US e-bike brand. There's not a huge number of kind of US based brands. You've got your Stromers and your Gazelles and your recent Muellers and stuff like that, but we're pretty proud to be this kind of like California born and raised e-bike brand.
Right here in the Bay Area.
Right here in the Bay, yeah. And so this basically came out of a collaboration with another local, very entrepreneurial company called Civic, which is a spin-off of Taylor Stitch, kind of a men's clothing brand. Yeah. Great clothing. I really love it. Some of my favorite stuff.
Sweet.
And we did a bike with them to kind of highlight, again, these sort of entrepreneurial urban roots, kind of based in cycling and transportation and mobility. But this bike is all about kind of these cool local influences. So we've got, just to call it a couple things here, the Paul brakes. Paul's a local company, local-ish, based in California. Really just sweet CNC US manufactured bikes.
Does this do anything that's black like these?
Yeah, that adjusts the throw on the pads. So as the pads were down, you can kind of rotate that.
So it brings them in or out?
Yep, so really easy to adjust. And Paul just kind of like the Bike Geek brand, but they make really like just the highest end, coolest, highest quality stuff.
And again, this gold is kind of neat. It really ties in on the blue. And apparently there's sort of so these are kind of custom CNC'd, and it's going to be silver or gold depending on what frame color you choose. Yeah, so with this, again, and it's kind of a limited edition, just sort of a fun thing we're doing, but you'll be able to take the Porteur S bike, which we do in this midnight run. It's a brand new color for us. So this color comes in the stock model, as well as this version.
or the white or the gray. We have a really popular gray model for the Porteur S. And you can do this configuration in any of those 3 colors on the S. Okay. And then, like you said, you can add the kind of the gold accents if you really kind of want to bling it out.
Yeah.
Or if you're more like the understated variety, you can do the silver as well.
Yeah.
But what you get with that is, again, those kind of like CNC'd in California, top of the line pawl, brakes, and levers. These tires, I'm a huge fan. So I'll tell you the backstory on these tires.
Yeah.
There's a so gravel, the gravel segment has become really popular
in the bike world. Gravel
grinders, right? So there's a local gravel ride called Grinduro up here in Northern California. Cool. Super cool ride. Giro puts it on, and really, really cool ride. And so I took a Faraday on it 2 years ago. I put drop bars on a Faraday.
Sweet.
And I was like, I need big tires for riding gravel.
How did you do it? So the drop bars, did you just bring the levers in? Like you kind of had the...
So it was full. I put like a 1x11 setup on the back and had the drop bars. It wasn't motorized, so I was like, I'm gonna ride this thing for 80 miles. Like, I'm not gonna have a motor in it. But put drop bars on. And I put these tires on. This is Compass Tires.
Yeah.
Another U.S. brand. A really cool company, makes kind of like touring and gravel tires. And this is a big high volume tire they make for gravel, off-road and touring riding.
So it gives you some float, some comfort. It also gives you a little bit better traction, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so I mean, a bunch of great things about this. The width is really nice just for kind of stability, riding and cornering. Yeah. And then what it lets you do is ride, it's a smooth tire, but it rides really, really well off-road. If you want to go out, it's not like a mountain bike, obviously, but if you want to ride on a bike path or on gravel, like I said, I did it on this 80-mile long Grinduro ride and actually raced that bike with the drop bars down single track, like in the mountains. So a really versatile tire. And the other nice thing about it too, like you mentioned before, is you can run this at pretty low pressure because it's such a big tire. Mm-hmm. So if you want kind of a smoother ride, kind of smooth out the potholes in the city,
that's me, right? I'm all about comfort. In fact,
so nice.
I think it's, what is it, 25.4 or something that you've got a seat post diameter, and they put a suspension post on this for me because later we're going to ride around the city just for fun, just to, hitting up San Francisco. I don't want to forget the bell though. That's another, like, look at the gold accent and stuff.
So this is another U.S. brand, Portland Design Works, PDW, based up in Portland, Oregon.
Beautiful.
Super cool little bell. So again, you've got a bunch of brands here. You've got, Compass, Paul, PDW, plus a couple international brands. NITTO, great heritage Japanese maker. Brooks, this is the new all-weather Brooks saddle.
Oh yeah,
so,
yeah.
This bike is just kind of about embracing the best of, a kind of American cycling design and innovation, and then some cool heritage brands brought in to make just a really fun, compelling bike. And I will say, the other thing I think we wanted to highlight with this bike is just the versatility of our bikes. So I think a lot of people think like, oh, when I buy an e-bike, it's all going to be custom and bespoke, and I can't change anything, right?
Yeah.
And we encourage just the opposite. We're like, go to town. Like these bikes, one really cool thing about Faraday is because it really is a bike at its core.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want with this thing. So we've had people put aero bars on these things. We've had them put cruiser bars on, and it's really fun, and it totally changes kind of the DNA of the bike and how it works and feels.
Yeah.
And so we totally encourage that. And I think again with this build, just kind of wanted to highlight like how much fun you can have with these bikes to really personalize it and make it your own.
I see that.
And this thing with that flat bar on there.
Yeah.
Totally rips. It just really transforms the character of this bike from our typical Porteur, which, like you said, you've ridden before. Is a very comfortable, upright, swept back, kind of Dutch style, which I love. It's very sedate and
part of a Dutch
civilized
company now.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. But if you want to just have like just a super fun, like kind of ripping street machine, like this thing is all about that. So
yeah, a little bit more great. Okay, so apparently I was doing some research, like this bullmoose design. Did it originate with mountain bikes or something? It was like to be extra sturdy, and that's why they have the kind of V thing and a little bit more aggressive than the older.
Yeah, that's kind of my understanding. And so this is kind of a modern take on it.
Now it's like a hot rod style.
Yeah, totally.
I love that. And you've still got, you've got a bunch of risers in here, but I love the way that the bell is situated on one of those risers.
Yep.
And it matches. It just ties in all the colors. There's a lot of style going on here. All the cabling is internally routed really nicely. And then back here, I think this is maybe where you access the controller for the bike.
This is, if you need it for whatever reason to access the bike for service, or your local bike shop did, this port back here gets into all the connectors that connect the controller right here. Turn that on to the battery in the down tube. So. And
then the battery's in here, and some people are like, well, what, can I take it off? Or no, you can't. I mean, technically you can, right? You'd have to take off this bottom bracket and slide it out the And that would be for servicing. It's not something you do to charge it or something.
Right, yeah. So you charge it right here in the port in the back.
Yep.
Plugs into the wall there. It's about a 3-hour charge. And then if you needed to service it, or if I just replaced my battery after 4 years of riding 10 miles a day every day, right?
Yeah.
So,
wow.
So pretty good lifetime on the batteries. And it just pops right out there to service it.
How much are replacement batteries? So if someone's looking ahead to like 4 years down the line, they're probably going to be cheaper than they are now. Battery technology gets cheaper over time, but
cheaper, or one thing like for our early customers, we're higher capacity, right? So our people who bought a bike, in Kickstarter, day one, when they replaced their batteries, like myself actually, like I got a better battery when I replaced my battery. So that's kind of a cool aspect of battery tech too. And I think the cost, again, I off the top of my head, not the right person to ask, but I think it's $450 or something like that.
So
not,
it's reasonable.
Yeah, not unreasonable.
And part of the reason I'm pointing out battery, it's like, again, low, good weight distribution. However, if you want to charge this bike, you either need an extension cord to go down. Most people have a plug in their garage, or you bring the bike inside. And my recommendation would be to bring the bike in a cool, dry location. E-bike technology is highly water resistant in most cases. You don't want to take this and submerge it or something, but it's going to be fine. It's just that extreme temperatures, they can, it seems like they add some wear to lithium ion batteries. So if it's freezing cold outside, that's might be a little hard on the battery.
In general, especially when you're charging, that's kind of where that matters the most. So like batteries will discharge faster if you leave them in a very cold or very hot place.
Yeah, you get way less range.
You'll get less range, and you get it with your phone, right? If you're skiing with your phone, the battery will die faster. And that's any lithium battery is going to have that effect. Our software has protections in there so that if you are at a really kind of very cold place, a very hot place, the motor controller won't let the bike damage itself. Basically, will limit the power that comes out of it. But
that's good. It's a smart controller.
Yeah, smart controller. And basically, again, with any e-bike anywhere, you want to just be a little bit thoughtful too. If you are in like Minnesota and it's -30, it's maybe not the best time to charge the bike.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but I think for the most part, we've got folks, people bring their bikes inside, whether it's garage or indoors or in the office, just kind of for safekeeping, oftentimes anyway.
Absolutely. And again, that 40.8 pounds is super light, and there's plenty of room on the triangle to lift the bike. Yeah. No bottle cage bosses, but I've asked about that a couple times, and they're like, well, even though maybe there's enough room to kind of thread a little ways, you didn't want people threading into the battery down here.
Right, we've got the battery in there. The great solution for a bottle cage that we've seen a lot of people do, which we always recommend when people want a bottle cage, is you can buy a nice one that just mounts right on the bar.
It's
right
like a
there.
cup holder thing?
Yeah, kind of a cup holder style on the front of the back. And it goes on, I can go on this bar or on like the Porteur kind of
something like right in here. That's kind of
fun right in the middle, yeah.
Or the SKS, they have like an anywhere adapter thing that sort of wraps around.
That's the other one you can do too.
Could probably get that on there. Yep. Other trade-offs with this particular limited edition is that because of these, wider tires, technically I think you could maybe get fenders on here if you swap the tires, but it doesn't sound like this one comes stock with the fenders. You can see these ones all have bamboo, the first two, and then the one down there. Are those steel or alloy?
Those are so S model has steel fenders.
Steel fenders.
Yep.
Okay.
And then with this one, I think with the bigger tire, doesn't really have the clearance. So these don't come stock with the fender.
What can you tell me about steel, Adam? Because a lot of times when I'm doing reviews, especially with fenders, I'm like, well, they're maybe not going to rattle around as much as plastic. They'll be sturdy, but at the same time, if you scratch it, there can be some rust situation. What do you do? You've had your bike for a long time. What do you do?
Yeah, so we sell, actually with all the bikes we sell, we give you a little paint kit.
Oh, sweet, little nail polish kit.
Yeah, little nail polish, exactly. So if you ding your bike, and we hope you don't, but if you ding it, it's really easy to put some paint on there, kind of for cosmetic purposes, but also, like you said, for rust. So that's a really easy fix for that. Steel fenders are great because they're really strong, right? So one thing with, you can have steel, aluminum, or plastic. Yeah. Plastic, versatile, but kind of a cheap feeling, frankly, right?
Yeah.
And they will also over time they'll get kind of sun degradation, and they'll kind of get brittle and old. Steel is really, really durable. Aluminum is really easy to dent and ding, and so aluminum fenders tend to have some issues with that. So we like steel again just because of
the whole bike is steel.
Pretty
much everything here is steel.
Yeah,
the handlebar. I don't know if these handlebars are steel, but that one is. Right?
That one is steel on those. These are aluminum on these.
These are alloy. Okay, cool. These are alloy. And you can see now that we're close. Again, these ones sweep back, and like the hand position is different. So this one's, that's why I was calling it sporty. Just kind of.
Yeah. Here, I'll give it a quick spin. You can kind of see me.
You gonna hop on this thing? Yeah, let's do it.
So it's still, it's not super aggressive, right? I'm pretty upright.
Yeah, he's pretty upright. It's not too bad.
It's got this cool feel, and if I wanted to get up and get out of the saddle, it's really fun. So, I mean, I like the I like the upright kind of, you know, Porteur style. I like that kind of straight back. I'm getting old, Court. Starting to feel it in my bones.
Yeah.
But there's something really fun about this thing. It just feels sporty and aggressive. And,
it is. What's the deal with the double top tube? Like, this is kind of a vintage look, but does it add some stiffness, or what's?
Yeah, it's, you know, that wasn't the intent kind of in the first place. It was sort of this nostalgic flashback to, I mean, so this design kind of comes out of these classic Dutch and Swedish bike frames, where they would, back in the day before we had kind of fancy modern alloy steel, which is super strong, they'd add that second tube for stiffness and to strengthen the frame.
Cool.
And also because everyone's super tall, right, in the Netherlands. So they're huge, so their bikes are huge.
To make it longer. And, you know, again, the 3 sizes.
You know, nowadays, it's less about the need to add strength to the bike because the steel is plenty strong.
Yeah.
But, you know, in addition to having this cool, unique, nostalgic sort of feel and look, which is really fun, it's head-turning, people come up to you.
Yeah.
It really does stiffen the frame. So it makes for a very, very strong, reliable frame. I like it because if you're going to pick the bike up, you can kind of pick it up lower down here. So these bikes are just like silly light. It's really nice. And then we even took, with the Porteur frames, we made our, if you've seen our leather bag, you can wrap it on the top for a U-lock.
Little.
Kind of took advantage of that.
There's a lot of cool accessories and some things that are still in the works. I was told that the control unit up here maybe has Bluetooth. I don't know if it's back here or up there, but.
Yep, we got Bluetooth here, and that's, people have kind of asked for a long time about the mobile app we're working on. In the works, back burner now to some other accessories we were talking about earlier.
I've seen some stuff. I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm excited.
Yeah.
And it's great to know that this will be forward compatible. So you could, the point being, like, if you get this bike, you're not missing out on the future mobile app or something.
Right, totally. Yeah, yeah, it's all there. Easy firmware upgrade to do. People always ask, how do you update it? There's a little switch right here. So if you plug a USB into that, and our dealers can do that really easily, you can plug into the bike, update any of the firmware, so it's very future-proof.
Yeah, and I love that. You do have dealers, so people can go in, they can test ride this and get fitted and stuff.
Yeah. And we'll have this through our dealers too, so it'll be select dealers. We'll have the option to buy this bike and stock it, or special order it for you if you want to.
Yeah,
so
set it up for you and everything.
Yeah, it's, I think with e-bikes, you know this, right? You've ridden probably more e-bikes than anyone, right?
Quite a few.
People want to try them and kind of feel how, you know, this feels versus that, and how does the hub motor feel, how does the mid motor feel.
Yeah.
And I think as you get more and more stuff in the market, that's more important than ever, right? Because you have a lot out there. And I think when people are buying an e-bike, they're making an investment in something that they want to be, you know, a reliable transportation solution. It's, you know,
it could be transport for you every day.
It's totally transport. So people really want to kind of like get that right and put a lot of effort into that. And we totally support that and believe that. So we have great shops who make that really easy to do.
Fantastic. And then maybe the last call out here, I really like these pedals. I think these are VP, but they're just kind of got that vintage look. They give you a lot of good traction. And the front rack, when you turn the bike, again, we don't have that on. It's an optional upgrade. But when you turn the bike, the rack stays forward, so it's not going to dump as you're steering, which adds a lot of utility. It's really cool. The interface just kind of slides right on. Everything on your bikes is more custom than some of the other ones that I see out there.
Yeah, we have fun with that.
You really scrutinize the details at them.
And the front rack is one of my favorite parts of the bike. Like that thing, so we designed it to fit basically 2 grocery bags or a case of beer, turns out.
Cool. Handy. Great.
But yeah, it works well. But I mean, it's my daily grocery getter, right? I almost every day stop at the grocery store and load the thing up and go home and make dinner.
That's
and
sweet.
It really allows me to use the bike as a replacement for my car.
Fantastic, man. I feel like, can you quickly, it's super simple kind of display interface and stuff, but can we do this one more time? So if we what do we just do that and it turns off? So let's pretend we're getting on for the first time. You're waking up in the morning, getting ready to go to work. What do we do?
Where's my coffee?
How does this work?
So really easy. We designed this for a really simple interface. So you press the button once here. It's going to take a minute and just boot up. It's like your phone fires up. The lights are going to come on there in the back.
Okay.
So that's like your ignition. You're good to go, right?
Yeah.
And then you're really set to ride. So you've got your mode selector here, which is going to have 3 modes. Off, here's the highest one. Kind of middle is medium assist, and then that's what we call boost, or the highest level of assist. So it's all pedal assist.
Yep.
And then you just pick your mode. You can switch on the fly.
Yeah.
And then just a really simple E-Ink indicator here. So that's an electronic ink indicator.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super pretty simple. So you'd see white at the top as it drains.
Right.
So
You're
like
totally full right now, but as it drains down, you see white. E-Ink is great. It's really high contrast. You can see it kind of in the bright sunlight. It's cool because when it turns off, it retains its display.
Yeah.
So you can kind of look at your bike at a glance, even if it's off, and say, oh yeah, I'm 3/4 full.
Yeah.
So really simple, really nice. Again, down the line, we'll have Bluetooth through that. Not there right now, so that's kind of a future thing for us. But really simple interface.
And then it initiates your torque and cadence sensing bottom bracket. So there's some, it's actually pretty fluid and natural feeling.
Oh, yeah. So German engineered NCTE bottom bracket.
Can I come down here a little bit?
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah.
So this thing is great.
Is it this plastic piece or is it inside there?
It's inside of there. That's just for tightening it down. But it's basically built into there. It's a sort of a high resolution torque, actually measuring the true torque in the spindle while you're pedaling, and then cadence, communicating that up to the motor controller here, and then translating that into the ride. And it all. I think one thing unique about Faraday is that we design all this ourselves.
Yeah. And
we just really geek out on making that really, really, really smooth, so that the feeling is very effortless and not kind of like not clunky or weird. It's just a very natural assist. It
doesn't feel like it's ever out of control or anything. It's just responds to you. And this is a Class 1 20-mile-per-hour e-bike, so it's allowed in the most locations. And you were talking about that gravel grinding event or whatever.
Yeah.
You can Grinduro, you can ride it on trail,
pretty much anywhere. Yeah, and increasingly in the U.S. Yeah, as we get more and more better legislation, kind of allowing e-bikes. New York, right? Just huge deal. New York just legalized e-bikes.
All Class 1 only.
Class 1 only.
Michigan,
right?
Same thing. Class 1.
And we love that. We try to do whatever we can to support that and help kind of.
People even know it's an e-bike, right? Because these things are so stealthy.
I know.
And I want to call out that they all have this alloy belt ring or chain ring guard too. So if you have pants on like Adam does, and you're a hipster and you hang out in San Francisco, you're not going to get your pants dirty or greasy. And it's also going to keep the chain from dropping off inward. Have you had your chain drop? I mean, there's not a full guide on these, but you've got the one side keeping it.
Yeah, so the belt's obviously not an issue.
Yeah, belts don't. They have the CDX track.
Yeah, so the belts are good. The chain is pretty stable. I think the where you tend to get chain drop more often comes from shifting in the front ring, right?
Yeah.
And because we just have a single ring in the front with shifting in the back, it really doesn't end up being a big issue. The other thing you see sometimes with mid-motor bikes, when you have a chain, and I'm sure you've experienced this, is that all the torque that you get going through the mid-motor into the chain can really throw the shifting off, and so you get that kind of grinding, jarring, mashing feeling.
Yeah.
Which, in addition to being just kind of unpleasant, can also really accelerate the wear on your drivetrain.
Yeah.
So your chain, your cassette, your derailleur.
By the way, this does freewheel completely efficiently. There's no drag or anything. That's an internally geared, planetary geared hub motor up in the front.
Two-stage actually, with two planetary gear reductions in there. So again,
That's what you're saying. How many reductions is it?
Well, it's 11 to 1. It's a crazy amount of gear reduction in there.
Okay, and then Altus. Again, I feel like this is good enough for around town, and it gives you a range so you can climb and stuff. But this is not a mountain bike. It doesn't go up higher. It's like the 32. So 11 to 32. Altus is one step up, but there's 3 levels of tourney, which is the entry level. So can you help me understand choosing Altus and
we picked Altus because we wanted something that was let us hit a great price point, but was also a really great derailleur. So we wanted it to be crisp, last for a really long time, be really reliable, not need a lot of service. And we just thought that derailleur nails it. Our product manager, JT, comes formerly from Breezer Bikes, which I think is one of the best brands on the market for just making really great, thoughtful city bikes.
Yeah.
And this is a part that he really believed in as a great spec, and we love it. I think, again, like you said before, if we were making mountain bikes, if this was going to be something you were going to ride off jumps and trails and stuff like that, then maybe you put an XT or something like that higher end.
Okay.
Works really. In the range, this is an 8-speed. I find that actually having too many gears on an e-bike is actually kind of annoying, right? So the bigger you go, because you're accelerating so fast on an e-bike, and you have the motor to help you kind of at lower speeds, I just don't believe that you need an 11 or even more than that kind of range of gears.
Especially for urban environment.
For urban environment, right? If this is a speed bike, like a 28-mile-an-hour bike, maybe that's a different story. But for an urban city bike, for ease of use and not having to just shift constantly, right?
Yeah.
I think this is that's one of the reasons that we use the 8-speed Alphine as opposed to the 11-speed Alphine over here. Same thing. It's just 8 is really we ride a lot of bikes, we test a lot of stuff, we really think these decisions through.
There's no quick release on this, so you've just got nuts up front, and then this is like a skewer nut system, and then there's also just, I don't know if that's 5mm hex right there, but that's probably for theft prevention a little bit. You're in the city.
Our typical rider, more often than not, is riding in an environment where, whether it's somewhere as kind of urban and dense as San Francisco, or maybe it's Palo Alto or Boulder or something like that. Is worried about theft, and we wanted to kind of support that rider by making this kind of a more theft-proof kind of bike with no quick release parts.
It's fantastic. Adam, if I missed anything, it's always fun to talk to you, but we've been talking for a while here.
Yeah, no. I think it's funny. One other thing came to mind when you were talking about the the types of motors in front and shifty tech and everything. The other thing I think is just really cool, and I want to highlight this with our bikes. You mentioned the motor being separated from the drivetrain, and it's one other great thing about doing a front or rear for that matter, but a hub-driven system is that, again, for a city bike, what it means to have the motor in the hub is that whatever gear you're in as a rider, right? So right now, we're in the highest gear, right? This is just shifted as far down as you can go.
Yeah.
But whatever gear you're in, the motor is going to give you the same amount of assist regardless, right? Whereas with a mid-drive, you can really benefit from the extra torque that comes through that thing.
Yeah.
But you got to be in the right gear. If you're in a really high gear in a mid-drive, you can actually be fighting the motor because you're too high of a gear.
Yeah.
So what we were shooting for here was the most intuitive and simple kind of experience for somebody who is maybe not a really sophisticated, knowledgeable about shifting their gears kind of rider, which is probably a typical rider, frankly, could come along and hop on this thing and have a really, really good experience without having to worry too much about, am I optimizing for my shift, range, efficiency, whatever else. Just ride it like a bike and really have a good time.
Absolutely, man.
So.
Well, and back to like even the shifter interface that you've used here, where it's just kind of, it's built in, you twist, you've got the little window, it's very intuitive.
Yeah, I mean, I think that more than anything speaks to the ethos of the brand, right? It's keeping it very intuitive and very fun. And frankly, like, we all love riding our bikes. We want to let you focus on that experience and really enjoy it and not have to worry too much about kind of like what's going into making that happen.
Well, fantastic. So. It's great to catch up with you. I'm gonna hop on the bike, pedal it around a little bit, do some frame mounted shots so you guys can hear, because the motor is very quiet. You know, it's really smooth. So let's get out there. Let's do it.
Cool.
Thanks, buddy. Okay, guys. So looks like this one's still on. Gonna start off in the highest level of assist to help me get going. And it's kind of interesting, like I'm pushing right now, but because there's also that cadence sensor, it's not just relying on the torque sensor. It doesn't take off until you get like just a little bit of, there we go, kicked right in. Super quiet. I can't hear the motor at all. It tracks really nicely, especially with those slightly wider tires. It's still comfortable, but this is a little bit more sporty with that flat bar, like Adam was saying. Just works really well. Head out into the street here. And maybe shift gears a little bit, get going a little bit faster. There we go, I'm at the top gear. I can't tell exactly how fast I'm going because there's no display panel. But someday, if they introduce that app, maybe have some other little, maybe like GPS or speedometer or some other feedback, that'd be kind of nice. As it stands, it's just really clean, really intuitive. Okay guys, we got the bike turned on. There's the Bafang, 250 watts, apparently like 35 Newton meters on that thing. I'm in the highest level of assist. I'm going to pedal along, and you're mounted to the handlebar, which should be, kind of good for hearing how it sounds a little bit close up. These brakes, they really are good. It's interesting because a lot of times I'm talking about, being able to adjust the reach on hydraulic disc brakes and just how fluid, how much power they deliver. But these mechanical disc brakes actually work very well. I'm not having to put a lot of like hand strength into it. The reach feels really good. I'm gonna ride around a little bit more, try to hit that top speed. Oh boy, there we go. It's taking off. Very good. It's just so fluid. Like, that torque and cadence sensor feels really good. Yeah, it's just natural. Good acceleration. It cuts out quickly. They don't even have motor inhibitors on the brake levers because they don't need them. It's just that responsive. Okay, from here you can see the Shimano Altus. I'm just going to shift through some gears. Seems to be working really well. I haven't had any problems. I did notice that there are some nicks here on the right chainstay, but it does actually have a plastic sticker, so I think it's protecting it decently. There's a little bit down here, and I don't know if the chain actually went that far. This is one of their kind of first like demo prototype bikes, but it's nice that they're protecting that paint job, and they've got the nail polish touch-up paint that comes with, so just go for it. Great way to get around the city. Got all these bike shares going on. I was walking to the Faraday offices earlier this morning, and just everyone's on bikes. It's just a wonderful experience. And this one fits right in, definitely in San Francisco. And I got the stop sign situation. E-bikes are wonderful for those urban environments where there's a start and stop, because you don't have to strain your legs or feel quite as bad that you lost some of your momentum. And I feel like the range on this is pretty decent. You know, it's 20 to 30 miles depending on the assist level you're using, just because you do have to pedal. It's a little bit more efficient that way. And that motor is getting a mechanical advantage because of the relatively smaller 26-inch wheels versus 27.5 or 28. So there's a mechanical advantage. It's not having to turn this really big wheel, but there is sort of a higher angle of attack, so when you're hitting cracks and stuff, you can feel a little bit more, except for the steel frame, except for these larger tires. I actually feel like this is one of the more comfortable bikes, and I used the word surprisingly earlier because it is sort of surprising. You look at this bike and you're like, there's no suspension, there's not even a suspension seat post or anything. You could add it, and yet it feels really good. So yeah, I'm a fan. The super steep hill. Whoa, at the very end there.
Very end really kicks up.
This is already, this would already be quite a bit of work.
This is, even this is not the funny thing is, like a small hill in San Francisco is a mountain somewhere else.
Yeah, for real.
Lose our perspective, I think, for hills.
And I'm in, I don't know, gear 4 or something right now, so I'm kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to want to switch down.
Cruising speed.
I think I've reviewed bikes on this street before.
I bet you have.
Leaned them up against the houses.
If you went from the new wheel, I'm sure you have.
And then a stop sign going uphill, and that's killer.
That's the work.
You gotta like lose your momentum. Here we go, everyone's switching down.
Oh man, it feels good to be back on a Faraday.
Yeah.
After that fixie.
Not struggling quite so much, huh?
I was doing the paper pulling thing coming up the hill.
Alright, this last little block here is just
Wow.
These brakes are pretty tight. Oh, they do?
This goes up.
Okay.
Let's find out.
What do you like on this red? Wow.
This goes great. Yeah.
Here's the steep part. There they go. I'm gonna take it easy. Yeah. It's nice you don't even have to stand up. But that stop's gonna be quite the challenge. Now he's standing up. Okay. Wish me luck. Oh, I can hear it like almost losing traction. Not standing up. Made it. Proud of myself. Not bad. And I have sensitive knees, so to get that extra support, I mean, I wouldn't be able to do that. I'd certainly be out of breath. Can we find it?
I think we're going to get stuck carrying them up. I think it's just the staircase at the end.
Oh, that's fine.
We can take turns carrying it.
Sweet.
Dead end on Burrow Hill.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
We found a staircase, but we ran out of road. We want to get up there for the fun photos and the view.
This one's up here.
Yeah. I'm still sitting, managing this.
Super steep.
Yeah, we did it.
Core, you're a beast. Okay, well this is where.
Wow.
This is where a lightweight e-bike.
No, this is, yeah, look at that.
Right?
Good, I can,
You gonna help out since I got the camera?
Here, I'll come.
you go ahead and
Thank you so
go on
much.
up.
Chase Adam.
Got it? Yeah. All right, check this out. This is the true gravel experience, Court. And that's where big knobby tires.
That's what you were saying on the gravel.
Yeah.
Nice.
Here we go. This is where we were trying to go.
Hey buddy, getting all the bikes set up?
How was it?
It was great. It was a lot of fun. It's always neat to get to speak with like the founder and the person who's seen the whole evolution of these bikes and get a little bit of history and
Well, the whole vision, the e-bike market too, right? I think like the last 6 years since Faraday started, I think for both of us, right, has been a time of a ton of change and development. For Faraday, for EBR, but also just for the industry, for the market.
it's been great,
It's been
man.
wild.
I'm glad to see you around and also growing and being recognized by some of those bigger companies and getting, like, you know, supply chain, some of the bigger support and stuff. You're gonna be around. You're doing great.
Yep.
For the full write-up on this bike and some of the other Faraday models, I'll see you back at ElectricBikeReview.com. Of course, chime in if you have any feedback or maybe stories from your own Faraday or just questions. I'll help you get some answers if you got them. And ride safe out there, guys.